such a great figure!
If you know them already, then you're probably a fan, and if you don't, then you soon will be. And stick around to the end because I'm going to give you a chance to win a figure set for yourself. Today I'd like to introduce you to Dynamo Models, a company that I've called out a few times in my top 10 announcement videos. But this is the first time I've actually had an opportunity to look at their stuff in the flesh, and I've got to tell you, it did not disappoint. After connecting with Sylvain over at SMC a couple of months ago, I was lucky enough to be trusted with one of their pre-production kits to build and take a look at. But before I do that, I just wanted to show you some of their figures because they are absolutely stunning.
Beautiful face, great figure, works at a drive-in restaurant.
Dynamo Models is a French-based company producing 3D printed figures in all of the standard scales. However, they also produce a line of busts and accessories as well as injection molded kits. Their range of subjects is diverse, however they have a strong focus on French subjects, and that's a nationality that can often be neglected by mainstream manufacturers. As mentioned, these figures are 3D printed, with the supports being thoughtfully placed to minimise on the cleanup once removed. The creases and folds of the fabric in the uniforms looks very natural and quite realistic. These sculpts and detail on the faces is really quite extraordinary and should be a joy to paint. I just love the detail of the glasses on these guys, and looking at a head sculpt from an alternative set, the detail in the hair and facial structure is defined and distinctive. 72nd scale figures have been tricky to source in the past. However, Dynamo have you covered here with scaled down versions of most of the sets in their line, as I understand it. These prints aren't just scaled down and knocked out, they have been thoughtfully re-engineered to give you the optimum usable result at this smaller scale. They are really something quite special. I'll be using Dynamo figures in a project soon, so keep an eye out for those and hopefully I'll do them justice when I paint them. But as I mentioned, I was lucky enough to have been given a pre-production boxing of their latest kit, and it's the 47mm French anti-tank gun. It's a niche subject, but an important one nonetheless. The instruction booklet is beautifully presented with a brief history on the weapon and easy to follow steps. The colour callouts are provided by Ammo by MiG, and the gun can be modelled in the transportation configuration or in a firing position. This is the first Dynamo model kit I've built, and I'd be lying if I didn't say that I was a little concerned about fit and finish. Some of these short run niche subjects can be very hit and miss, as I'm sure you're probably aware. In saying that though, the parts looked well resolved on the sprues, so it would be a matter of giving this kit the benefit of the doubt and getting some glue on the styrene. As I understand it, this is Dynamo's fourth kit release and the third French anti-tank gun in their range. They also released a US M55 quad mount machine gun kit, which by all accounts was received very well. As I made my way through the instructions, it became apparent that this kit had been thoughtfully engineered and really beautifully resolved. The fit was quite exquisite and precise, and it was a real joy to build. Along the way, you make the choice for the transportation configuration or the firing position, and the latter was the option that I went for. Dynamo are releasing this kit in a basic version, which is the one I have, a premium version that includes a metal barrel and resin wheels and some 3D printed ammunition, and then finally a deluxe version that includes all of those goodies, plus 4 detailed 35th scale resin crew figures with interchangeable heads and optional gear. This comes with a small block of 3D printed parts that represent the brackets for the hammers on the front of the gun. I'd assembled this in error, so I removed those kit parts and installed the 3D printed parts. And they looked a lot finer and nicer than the plastic did. I've chosen to paint this in an all-over olive green colour, and as usual I reach for the AK real colour paints to get my coverage down. I like the rich tone this olive green brings, and after thinning it to around 40% thinner to paint, I can start applying it using my Gallery Mobius 0.2mm airbrush. I had primed this model in a black primer to act as my foundation and set about building up the colour in a mottled way, using the black primer to influence the finish in the paint. The model is painted in the three main elements: the wheels, the body of the gun, and then of course the shield and the gun itself. By then adding yellow-green to the colour, I'm able to start adding highlights over these shapes. I'm focusing on raised areas and on horizontal surfaces. Small surfaces like this can often be tricky to paint because the detail can often be lost if the colours are too dark. Adding highlights will help add variation and help to create some volume over these small surfaces. This technique is expanded even further by adding a drop of ivory into that mix. And this time the coverage is focused on an even smaller surface area than the colour before it. Playing with the airbrush is one of the areas of this hobby that brings me the most joy. So to re-establish some of those shaded areas, a mix of the olive green and then the clear smoke was used as a post-shading technique. I'm trying to expand the contrast from dark to light, which should bring some life to this tiny gun. The rubber rims of the wheels can then be brush painted with acrylics, and having them mounted on a toothpick makes short work of this task. The detail in the small brass plates is a lovely detail, and once in place, a light round of sponge chipping can be applied. This is done with a black-brown colour, and it serves to complement those green tones I achieved earlier. This can get away from you, so ensure the paint has all but been removed from the sponge before starting to dab it against your model. A dark brown enamel wash is then applied around the details to help give them some body. And then after leaving that around 10 minutes to dry, a soft makeup sponge can be used to tidy it up and to refine that wash, leaving it only in the deepest recesses and precisely around raised details. European Earth is mixed with an earth tone enamel paint and applied around the lower edges of the shapes and particularly around the road wheels. Then around about 15 minutes the excess can be removed, again with that makeup sponge. A rust colour wash can then be used over the metallic areas that I'd painted in a graphite colour earlier, and then I can enhance them and make them look more metallic using the tip of a graphite stick or a lead pencil. And the model is ready for a small display base. I'm just waiting on a few bits and pieces to make that happen. So hopefully I've given you some insight into some of the stuff Dynamo are producing. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? Granted, a French anti-tank gun isn't going to be everyone's cup of tea, but this little French manufacturer is really punching way above their weight in terms of the quality and the range they are producing. The finish, fit, presentation and build experience with this kit was honestly up there with some of the best models I've ever built. It was a pleasant surprise to say the least, and I'm looking forward to building more of their kits as they are released. Now, to celebrate this video, I'd like to give you a chance to win the figure set you see on screen for yourself. It's an absolute beauty and I'm sure you will love it as much as I do. Just make sure you have liked this video and of course are subscribed and comment down below, great figure. And I'll know that you're in the running to win. This prize will be drawn on the 12th of December and announced during the top 10 video that I released that month. Also have a giveaway going over on the Patreon page, so if you wanted to help this channel grow and dial into that community, I'd love to see you there. Manufacturers like this are a reminder as to how far this hobby has come in such a short space of time. And if you haven't heard of them before, then do yourself a favour and check them out. You really will not be disappointed. As always, I'd encourage you to remember that this truly is the greatest hobby in the world. Share it with your family and share it with your friends, and let's be proud of what we do. Until next time, I will see you soon.
It's been a difficult job finding anything on Dynamo.